Okay, so you've got your 12 by 18 felt sheets.
Okay, for this project, if you're doing a tree skirt for the Dollar Tree, like 1 foot tall tree, you will need some felt that's at least 12 inches wide. This felt here on the right is 12 by 18 that I got on Amazon. The felt on the left is 8 by 10 that I got at Walmart. And then you'll also need some embroidery thread, whatever colors you choose. I happen to already have this embroidery thread. However, I wished I'd had some red and some green. I just never went and got it. So this is what I was working with.
Now you need to find something, whatever you have, just look around your house, you've got something that is 12 inches wide. For me, I have this gift container, so I'm going to use the lid from this gift container to make my circle. If you have a compass, you could do it with a compass. You have a large plate, but you want to make it at least 12 inches wide if you want it to look nice on your little tree. If you could make it smaller if you have a smaller tree. Maybe you have one of these little tiny trees, then you can just make a little small circle. But I'm trying to make it for the, the Dollar Tree Christmas tree. It's about this tall. At the end of the video, after these are done, I'm going to set up the tree and put the skirt around it so you can see how it looks for this size. But anyhow, this is what I'm using, is this lid from my container. And I'm going to be making these for my 3 children, so I'm going to cut out 3 all at once. That's an option for you also. I'm going to be using my rotary cutter and then trimming it up, fixing it up. I also plan to put lace on the edge of mine, or some kind of edging for it, so it's, I never care about being exact, so if it has little boo-boos, it'll cover up with the lace. So here we go.
Okay, the rotary cutter is the best way to go if you have multiples to cut. Otherwise, with the scissors, you have to just cut each one individually. This way you don't have to draw an ink line on your material, just cut it.
Okay, now we need to cut, I didn't cut mine exactly straight, but, I mean, it's straight, but it should have been more on an angle. But anyway, and then I took this to draw my circle that I'm going to cut for my tree, and this is, mine is 2 3/4 inches, my circle. So we're just going to cut that out. Cut your line up and then cut that out. Like so. I'm cutting past my line because I don't want the ink to be on my finished tree skirt. So, there we have it. And if you can see, I have it in triplicate. I have triples. Well, I need to go back and round that up a little bit. But you get the picture.
Okay, now I'm just going to go through my scraps, which I save all of my scraps. I just take a Ziploc and put them all in there. But I'm going to start cutting out some little snowmen, Santas, Christmas trees, whatever you want to cut out. Now you cut them out and kind of lay them out on your circle. Decide how you want it to look. Mine's, this first one that I'm doing is going to be snowmen and Christmas trees. And I'm just using this fabric fusion. On this one specifically, nothing will be stitched of the characters, so everything's going to get plenty of fabric fusion. Now, if you plan to stitch your pieces afterward, I would put very little fabric fusion, just enough to make it tacky to stick, because it's very hard to get your needle through it if you put a bunch on it like I'm doing here. So this is going to be my setup, everything glued down, and then I'm going to be onto the edging, and this little baby will be complete.
Okay, so this is what I've got with this one completed. Now, on this one, I had some lace like this, and I just went along and gathered it to make it ruffly for around the edge. I kind of like a ruffled edge tree skirt, but if you don't, I'm going to show you another option. Okay, also this one, I just used the fabric fusion and glued all the parts down. So everything's just glued. No stitching at all. This is the easiest. And you can make whatever symbols you want. You can put a cross on it. You can put just one giant Christmas tree, whatever. And then the only sewing I did on this was tacking the lace to the edge. But you see, I just used large stitches, so it didn't take long. Okay, here's another option. This one I'm still working on. Just cut out shapes, layered them. It gives it a little bit of dimension. And everything's glued down with fabric fusion. Okay, for this one, I have already glued all of the parts down with my fabric fusion. This one's not going to get any stitching. It's going to stay like this. Now I just need to put an edging. So for this one, I have one of these big rolls of tulle. And it's the red glittery tulle. So I'm folding mine in half, which will make a nice thick border. Like this. And then I'm about to gather it, but I wasn't sure how gathery I want it to be. So I took my tool and I measured around the outside, and then I multiplied it 4 times. So I did it 4 times. But I'm going to start to gather it and keep laying it on and see how I like it, how thick I want it to be. If I want it really bunchy, I don't know. I'll see as it goes. And then I'll let you know when you see the final one how much I ended up doing. But if you don't know to gather your lace, all you need to do is, it's just an up-down stitch. I don't do a lot of sewing because I no longer have a sewing machine, and I don't, I'm just not really into sewing much anymore. But for small things like this, it's pretty simple. So you line up your edges, and then you're just going to go down, up, but you do it wide. You don't put the stitches really close. You put them wide so that when you get to the end, it'll gather up like this. And then it'll go around your thing. So I'll be back after I get this all gathered up and tacked on. Okay, so I have gathered my tulle, and for it to be this gathered, which I'm kind of liking, it ended up being only half of what I had cut. So if you want it to be like this, you'll measure all the way around once and then double that. That's what it's turning out to. So I'm going to take white and do a running stitch. Right now I'm laying it in between. I made an extra layer. I'm going to put the layers together, pin it, and then I'm going to do a running stitch around. And I'll be back.
Okay, here it is completed. I added a few hearts to add some love to it, and this one is done. I'm going to show you a couple others that I made, and at the very end I will show several of them around the little Dollar Tree Christmas tree so you can get an idea of the size. Okay, this is a tree skirt that I made for my other daughter. She lives on the lake, and this is how I got it laid out. Her fiance is actually a fishing guide, so that's why I put the big Santa fish. But I ended up stitching hers, and I wish I hadn't. I liked it better before it was stitched, but this is what we got, and so that's how it came out. Okay, I made this one for another one of my kids, and I like the simplicity of it. I think this one is actually my favorite. And when you make a big statement like this, it's a lot quicker. Still working on this one for a neighbor.
So you stitch around the edges of your items, and then you just tack the two pieces together, and then you come along and stitch. And you also can put ties in between the two layers, glue it in between with the fabric glue. You don't really need the ties. I mean, I don't think so. It just makes it look a little cuter or more fancy, I guess. But just like this one, you just slip it around the tree. Doesn't need it. So if you want quick and easy, which is always my go-to, just do the glue on with just sewn on lace. Or you don't have to sew on the lace. You can put an extra layer of felt. Now this one measures 14¼ inches. So you'll need to get the wider felt for this, for the extra layer, and then it's doubled up like this, so it's a little sturdier. So there we go. There we have. I'm going to try to get this video up today so that I can work on some cork ornaments for these little trees. I'm going to make some like elves, candles, Santas. I don't know. We'll see what we come up with. But I'm going to try to get this video up, so I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.